We are going to talk about dual credit with Coahoma Independent School District, the home of the Bulldogs, and Howard College. We've had a very good relationship with Coahoma for many years. Many students come to Howard College from Coahoma after they finish their associate's degree, and a handful even get their associate's degree before they actually get their high school degree. We have several students that are doing that now. It's kind of a new thing, but there is a way to do that. It is a lot of work. We do provide students with a quality educational experience. At Coahoma Independent School District, students can take courses at the school district via ITV, or we also have a CNA class that's there at the school as well. At Howard College, and online. A lot of kids are taking classes online because that's a lot more flexible and offers more opportunities for them. Now, your school does have different rules for who can take which classes each semester and each grade level, so you'll need to be sure to check with your counselor on that. This is a list of the different ISDs currently taking dual credit with Howard College. We have over 20 schools that take dual credit with us. We also have several homeschool students that take advantage of the dual credit process. Your classes are going to be broken down into two main categories at Howard College. There's academic transfer classes and there's career and technical classes. The academic transfer classes are your classes like English and government and history and classes like that uses the Texas Common Course numbering system. Most colleges in the state do use that numbering system. The classes that you take fall under a general studies core curriculum guide if the class is needed in your major. Now, I do need to specify that there are some classes like Math 1314, which is college algebra. Not all students need college algebra anymore. Some need a business math or perhaps statistics or calculus. And if your major needs that math, but you have taken Math 1314, college algebra that most people need, we cannot make that class go as your math class because that's not a math class you needed. Now, quite often that class will fit into an elective spot, so you won't lose the credit necessarily, but it may not satisfy your math credit. In order to take these classes, the academic classes, there are TSI requirements that must be met, and we'll talk about that a little bit later in the slideshow. The second kind of class that Howard College offers are career and technical courses. On these classes, there is no TSI required at this time. Now, I will tell you these courses may or may not transfer. We do offer a scholarship that pays the tuition fees for these classes, which is a pretty cool thing. We do that for a reason. All of these classes, or a lot of these classes, have some pretty expensive equipment and books, and we cover your tuition because books are required for pretty much every class, which we'll talk about a little bit more later as well. We cover the tuition, and as long as you pass the class, you're eligible to continue getting that scholarship from Howard College for these career technical classes. However, if you drop a career technical class or you fail it, you may no longer be eligible for that scholarship. You can still take it at the dual credit rate, which is a good deal. Few people do take cosmetology from Howard College at Coahoma and CNA. These are two classes that have a certificate by a licensing agency in the state of Texas. They have very specific time requirements. So these classes do not have quote unquote excused absences. You must physically be in the classroom a certain amount of time in order to pass these classes. You need to be sure if you're doing CNA or cosmetology that you have the time to do it. These are wonderful opportunities for you. You can save a whole lot of money. There is a big time investment. If you ever have problems with college credits not transferring, please contact us at Howard College so we can see if we can get that fixed for you. Howard College dual credit courses are taught by instructors with appropriate college teaching credentials. They all have a master's degree. These classes are dual credit, which you're getting a high school credit, college credit for it. You have to understand these are college classes. They do have college rigor and expectations. There's going to be more you're going to have to do. There's going to be more expected of you. In the state of Texas's eyes, you are college students now. You're no longer high school student. You have more expected of you. Students must adhere to college policies regardless of class location. There's a student handbook that I'll show you on the webpage in a little while that you will need to read and understand. You and your parents sign a form saying that you read and understand that handbook as well. The college does work with your high school official in scheduling courses to meet the ISD and students' needs. You need to be sure and read the student handbook, which I will show you on the webpage in a little while. Due to COVID-19, we've had some issues with TSI requirements. If you've taken the ACT, SAT, I know a few of you tested with me at Coahoma because you're one of the schools I actually did get to test a little bit at. So some of you've already met that, and that's great. If you've already met TSI requirements, you can go ahead and sign up, send it in, we're going to be good. If you've not met TSI requirements, that's still kind of a work in progress, and you're going to need to talk to your high school counselor within the next week or so and see what is being decided. There's a lot of little pieces falling into place with that. There are several possible options of TSI. We may have some TSI testing later in the summer up at the college. In order to take dual credit classes, you have to receive permission from your high school principal or counselor and your parent or guardian. You have to be a high school student, and the class load is determined by the ISD. A lot of people try to take lots and lots of dual credit classes. We really don't recommend more than 1 or 2 for your first time, just to make sure you're going to do well. We don't want you to get overwhelmed. Also, we don't recommend online classes for the first class if you can keep from it. It is possible to do it, but it's a best practice not to. In order to apply for dual credit, you are going to have to go online to applytexas.org. And when you go there, you're going to fill out a general application. But one of the things I need to mention on this, a lot of you in Coahoma use a post office box as a mailing address. Where it says address on there, put your mailing address every time, because whenever I mail bills and stuff, they quite often come back. So you need to make sure that you use your mailing address. You will need to submit completed paperwork. There's a dual credit application paperwork packet that I will show you online. You'll fill that out and you'll get it to your counselor. And we'll talk about tuition here in a moment. Admission and registration is coordinated through your high school counselor's office. You do have to go through your high school counselor to register for dual credit classes. And most of you probably have already talked to your counselor a little bit about your eligibility and their rules, but every school has different rules and eligibility for taking dual credit. Be sure you talk with your counselor to see what your specific ISD rules are. Howard College does offer reduced tuition academic transfer courses. Your ISD actually pays for your first 3-hour class. Your first 3-hour class, as long as it's from their approved list, is usually paid for by Coahoma ISD. Then if you take any classes on top of it, you would have to pay for those extra classes. So let's say you're taking a psychology class and you want to take history as well. That's 2 3-hour classes, 6 hours total. Coahoma ISD would pay the first one, which is actually $194, and then you would have to pay $144, which is a great deal. If you took 3 total classes, it'd be $288. I do need to stress this is plus books and supplies. Almost all college classes do have books and supplies. There are a handful that don't have books, but like I say, the majority of them do have books. Tuition for your career technical fees, that would not be added into those hours up there. So we take care of that, like I said, with the Howard College Scholarship. There are fees. Like there's some students that'll be taking welding and classes like that. Welding and construction, the books are $200 to $300. So if you're going to be taking welding / construction, working towards that certificate, you do have to have a book. You do have to buy it. ISD does not buy it. Unfortunately, there is no scholarship money to cover that either. You need to start saving money now for those books. You might want to do that because you will have to have them the first week of class. If you don't have books in the first week of class, we may have to drop. Now, here's some tips for success in college courses. Number 1, which is very, very important, do not miss class. You're only going to college classes 2 days a week, and those 2 days a week have a lot of stuff in them. They actually have a whole week's stuff. Each day you go is actually like 2.5 days. So if you miss 1 day, you're actually missing 2.5 days of material. Missing class can cause big, big, big problems. Some classes do have mandatory times that you have to be there, and if you miss so much, you can't pass the class. Which brings us to the second point. Read, print, and study the syllabus for each course. Once you get into class, they are inside Blackboard, which is your portal for Howard College and classes. Your syllabus will be in there. Be sure and print that, read it, understand it. Every instructor has different rules and regulations for their class. Some, if you don't show up 3 times in a row, that means you dropped. You can't pass the class. You need to be sure you read and understand it. They may have attendance and participation policies. Say, for instance, you're taking an online class, instructor may have a policy. You have to log in and go inside the little chat thing, and you have to chat and reply to chats in order to count for attendance twice a week. If you don't do that, you're counted absent. So you need to read and understand that. And you need to read their grading policy as well. Some say no late work. What does no late work mean? Well, it says no late work. If you don't turn it in on the due date, you don't get to turn it in. Are there extenuating circumstances? Sometimes. I mean, like the COVID thing, that was an extenuating circumstance, so some people changed. Other thing you need to think about is school activities. If you're in band or choir or basketball, football, whatever, those have different times that you leave and need to be out of school. You need to make sure you communicate with your instructor. Be sure that they know, and they may say, well, you need to turn this in early, or they may give you a little bit longer. So just be sure you talk to them. Also, if you're having problems in a college course, Howard College offers free tutoring. It's available online, and y'all are actually close enough that y'all can go to the tutoring center and get free tutoring. You need to take advantage of that if you're having problems. But step one, if you're having a problem, is talk to your instructor. Tell them you're having problems. They may not know. It may be something really simple you're missing, and they may be able to help you. Also, if you're having issues, be sure to talk to your high school counselor and keep them informed as well. There are deadlines for dropping courses. What that means, if you don't think you're going to pass the course, we need to get it dropped. An F will not disappear from your college transcript, and it messes with your GPA. What we need to do is get you to fill out a drop slip and get you dropped out of the class. Dates for dropping, like it says. The last day to drop is about 2 weeks before the end of school, before the end of the semester. All of these dates are on the Howard College calendar, and you can check them out as well. Remember, you are taking a college course that may have different vacation days from the high school. You may recall that I did mention that there are over 20 schools that have different calendars. Every different school has different days off. It's really hard for us to match up exactly with the days that y'all have off and we have off. You may have to go to school or sign in or something on a day that your school has a teacher work day or something like that. Just because your high school's off does not necessarily mean your college class does not meet. Now, that may be different for the classes that meet at your high school. You'll need to check with your instructor to be sure. Do not assume that you are excused from a college course for high school functions. They don't get the lists from your school saying you're going to be gone to the basketball game and things like that. So you need to make sure you communicate. It's not the counselor's job. It's not your parents' job. It's you as the student. You're the one responsible for communicating with that. Communication is key in college courses. If you want to be successful in college courses, you need to be sure to communicate. Now, here's something that's kind of an issue in college. It's plagiarism. A lot of people unintentionally plagiarize. Plagiarizing is taking somebody else's work and turning it in as your own. Most college papers are turned into a plagiarism checker called Turnitin. This is an online plagiarism checker that checks your work against work that's been turned in from your school for the last 30 years against Big Spring High School work, Lubbock, Monterey work, Odessa High School, high schools in Michigan, colleges across the country, online websites, guaranteedoriginalpapers.com. This plagiarism checker checks against a whole lot of stuff. And what it does is it goes back to, once the teacher runs it through the plagiarism checker, it goes through there and it comes back to the teacher all highlighted in different colors. And it tells them specifically where that information came from. And if you did not quote it and give credit the way you were supposed to, you plagiarized. You can use some quotes and use some things in papers, but the majority of your paper does need to be original work by you. Be sure that you don't do that. Don't go online and copy stuff. Don't turn in papers other people do. Sometimes the papers are run through that. Sometimes they're not. Most of the time they are. Don't take a chance. You can get kicked out of college for plagiarism, especially in big universities. Please, please, please don't do that. So, some miscellaneous information. As I mentioned before, Coahoma pays for your first 3 hours of select classes. Check with your counselor to be sure which ones. Students must purchase books and supplies. Now, you can get those from the Howard College bookstore, or you can get them places like Amazon and places like that. I will warn you, if you get them from Amazon, you got to order them way far out, especially with COVID. You're going to need to order it way far out in order to get your books in time for class. Class cannot wait for you to get your books. You know on day one you have to have them. Therefore, you need to get them. Can get them from the bookstore. Some books are a little more expensive at the bookstore, but not really that much. The places where you find cheaper books are quite often people on Amazon who don't have a real store or something, and they're selling stuff, or they're buying it from somebody else and then getting it and then shipping it to you, and you don't get it for weeks on end. If you get books on Amazon, please, please, please only buy them from an Amazon Prime person. Don't buy from any of the other as cheap as prices. Look at Amazon Prime and It's not even as good now as it used to be since COVID, but look how long it says it's going to take to ship, and look at your person's rating. Anybody can ship Amazon Prime now if they agree to Amazon's rules, which I don't really like, but that's a new thing that's changed since COVID's been around. So check their ratings and see how they do. If it's coming straight from an Amazon warehouse would be best. Again, I need to stress that welding and construction classes do have books, supplies, etc., and you have to have them prior to the first day of class. So be sure and save you some money to do that. You're going to need to fill out the paperwork and get it to your counselor. I would go ahead and do it as soon as possible, get it done so you're done with it, and go ahead and get it turned into her. Then you'll just be waiting on the TSI and things like that. If you have any questions, the best way to contact me is at this email address, dsparks@howardcollege.edu, or you can go to this webpage right here, which we'll look at in just a second. The first webpage I want to show you is the main Howard College webpage, howardcollege.edu. And it is a secure site, so you may have to do that https:// to get into there. But howardcollege.edu, and there's like a few things I want to show you here. First thing I want to show you is the student portal. If you look underneath where it says right here, you see a little bar with different things. It says My HC, Blackboard, email, or student handbook, tutoring. This line right here is really students, things that you need. So the first thing we're going to look at is My HC. If you click that, it will go to a place that's yours specifically. A lot of students don't even know this is here, which is too bad because there's a lot you can do here. Up here at the very top, you'll see it's a place where it says username and password. You see information here on logging into My HC. This username and password is the same as you use for Blackboard. So once you get your Blackboard login and everything, you have access to this as well. And everything you kind of need is on here too. You've got a link here over under quick links to HC email. You get an HC email account. Please sign into that. If you're not going to check it often, there is a way you can forward it to an email you check, but you do need to do this because Howard College sends a lot of things to your HC email account. We send surveys and things like that. Also from inside that email account, you as a Howard College student have access to Office 365. You can put Word, Excel, PowerPoint, everything on that is free while you're at Howard College. You have some storage space online, etc. That's all free. The next link is the Blackboard link, which we'll look at in a minute. HC Alert, that's the thing that will tell you on your phone if classes are canceled at Howard College due to weather or whatever. If you forget your password, you can reset it there as long as you've done your security questions. And there's another link to the handbook. You're going to sign something saying that you read and understand that handbook, so be sure you read it. And the HC catalog. Once you log in up here to My HC, you can do a lot of neat things. You can pay your bill online. You can do degree audit. Also, you can print an unofficial transcript inside here that you can send out with your scholarship application. You can order a real transcript to be sent. If you go back to the main Howard College page, you see the next link here is Blackboard. If you click that, it goes to here. This is a link that you need to bookmark and save, take a picture of with your phone so you know where it's at. Every class at Howard College will have a Blackboard component. You will get a username the first week of class, but well, actually probably for the first week of class, and then you can sign in and play around with Blackboard. Over here, you'll see a whole lot of different links. There's a new student orientation. I highly recommend you do that if you have not used Blackboard before. It kind of helps you learn how to do things inside Blackboard. If you have problems and can't log in, you can call this number. It's open 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. If you have any issues with Blackboard, you can call them and get that taken care of. I do recommend that you follow the rules, what it says here, follow the on-screen instructions to set up your two-factor method for security questions. That way, if you forget your password, you don't have to go through Blackboard. You can reset it yourself. They are very, very good about replying to messages. There's a link to your email there. If you need tutoring, you can click that and see what you need to do. You can set up times to go to the tutoring center. Now, right up here where it says students, you see if you click over that, it opens some new options. If you go to class schedule, it'll bring you to this page. You can actually look at every semester for the past few years of classes that have been offered. Let's say, for instance, we want to look at last fall, Oklahoma, all departments. This is what comes up whenever you get that list. It shows you all the classes that are available. Let's say you want to know you're in construction and you want to know what you need for construction. If you click this blue link right here, it's going to open this page right here that has your syllabus that I told you about. And you'll notice right here, required text. Here's the required text and the ISBN number. You need to get that exact number that's on there whenever you get a book. Don't get different numbers because that would be a different edition. Copy and paste that into Amazon and other places and look, or you can get it from the bookstore. You can also click on the instructor's name. So if you clicked on the instructor's name, it pulls up their CV, which tells you about what they've done, their education, and things like that. Whenever you go to that page, you can actually go back to other courses and say you're wanting to take some classes this summer. Click Summer 1, online classes, and you want to see what biology classes are offered this summer. You can do that, and it goes a little faster usually if it's just 1 or 2 classes. Once it looks through the database, it will list the classes that are available during that. These classes are offered online this summer. So you could click on the syllabus to see what's doing, etc. There's a lot of other things on this webpage for you to look at, but those are the main things. The next thing I want to show you is hcbigspring.com. If you just remember that, you can get to a lot of things that you need. Right here under dual credit, there's a whole bunch of different things that you need. This is a temporary web page. It'll be here through this summer and then it won't be here anymore. You can go here to the dual credit application page, click that, and it tells you step by step what you need to do to fill out an Apply Texas. If you click that, it's going to take you here to the Apply Texas web link, and you start here, you create your account, and then you start filling everything out. With this got a red asterisk, you have to fill that out. Please be sure you put your correct Social Security number when you do this. Social Security number does not have an asterisk, but it is required. If you don't put it, your application stays in Never Never Land and doesn't come to Howard College. It just sits in like a queue. Be sure you do that. Also, on your address, if you have a P.O. box, please use your P.O. box everywhere where it says address. So that way you get your mail. It tells you the registration packet. If you go down here, you can watch a little video that I made on filling out Apply Texas. Apply Texas has changed slightly since this video was made, but not a lot. So you may see a few things different in the interface, but you see I typed in there what you need to do, but you can go through that step by step. But like I say, there's a few things that are different. You'll start on My Profile. Once you get done with that, you'll save it. Then you'll go to My Applications and apply to a 2-year college, which that tells you down here as well. Go back up there and drop that down again. The next thing I want to show you, where it says dual credit high schools here, if you click that, you can actually go to right underneath this bottom one. It says COISD dual credit presentation. If you click that, counselor and I have worked together to make a little web page that tells you a little bit specifically about classes for your school. Coahoma ISD usually offers these classes. You will have to check with your counselor to see which ones you are eligible to take. You'll see your counselor's email account there. If you click it, it'll pop up into your email account. And then there's a remind thing there as well. It tells you about some of the requirements for dual credit. Tells you about some of the fees, the same thing we've already talked about. I'm not going to read over that again. This presentation is available here. This is called Scribit. It works on some browsers and on others they can't see it, but you can go through that whole presentation that I did just by clicking these. If you open it up and there's nothing there, you can download it right here as a PDF. Video that we're doing right now will be here within a week or so. Your counselor does have some documents, I think, for you to fill out on the high school side. Here are the ones you need for the Howard College side. If you've not done dual credit ever before, you will be a first time to dual credit. This is mainly 10th graders, but some 11th graders. You will click that, and here's the form you need. This does show you the current TSI requirements. If you have these already, you're good to go. We can get you enrolled and go on along. If you don't have these, if you haven't taken the TSI or you missed it by a few points or something, we will be having to do something else. We're just not absolutely positive yet. But like I say, we will know hopefully pretty soon. Here's a form that you have to fill out. And then down here where it says all college records, I would X that and this that says parent and legal guardian. That will give your parents access to help you get your records sent. Now on that, I will say that the state of Texas does see your students as college students. What does that mean? That means that instructors can't really talk to you about issues. Your student needs to talk to their instructor about issues, and the instructor can talk to the student. But due to FERPA and many different rules and laws, instructors really can't talk to you. You can talk to your counselor if you're having an issue, and the counselor can talk to me. We can see if we can figure stuff out. But really, we need to work on letting the students do that, because once they get to college, they're the only ones that do it. Please be sure you understand that. This information here will help you to get your student enrolled into college. You'll be able to get their records moved on to the next place. There's a place here where the student will sign and a place where the parent will sign. I do want to point out there's one here. Here it is. Number 9 is something. Dual credit early admission courses are college level. College level courses may include controversial, sensitive, and or adult materials. Students are expected to have readiness for college level, a rigor, and content. So be sure you understand that. This form will sign by the parent there, the student here, and then here is the dual credit form. This one actually you can fill in. You'll fill this sheet out. This is the form that we'll need to get you enrolled in classes. Now, if you're already a dual credit student, all you need is just that last page. That's the only form you have to do. You don't have to fill that form out again because that's good right now for the entire time you take dual credit. So you don't have to fill out much. You need to get those filled out and turned into your counselor. Don't see any questions over in the side. Some things you need to remember. Blackboard is your responsibility. You need to remember your password. This is very important. The counselor, the principal, everybody can't even reset your password. You're the only one that can. You need to keep track of it. Be sure you do that 2-factor thing to where if you forget it, you can reset it. That's a new thing the last year or two, so be sure you do that. These are college classes. They have college responsibility. You're stepping up. You're in a new level of classes now. More is expected of you. So be sure you understand that. Be sure you study. Don't blow off your classes. Is there anything the counselor would like to add?
Yes, there's a couple things that I wanted to say. The paperwork that we're going to push out to register, I'll email all the students who are signing up for dual credit. When you signed up through your Google form and you said, oh, I want to take dual credit English, then I'll send you an email to your school email address. It'll have that form on there. I'll actually put these forms too on the website and the Coahoma ISD website, and it'll say, here's a link for dual credit forms, and that way you can click on them there and print them there. If you don't have access to a printer, then you can email me and I can print you off a packet and I'll meet you up at school and I'll give them to you. I do want these turned in by August 4th. Last year, this beginning of the school year, we were getting into the first week of college with kids still turning stuff in and it was too late. And you're already a few days behind, and I want to stay ahead of that this year. So if we get them turned in by August 4th, then we'll be good to go. I know we're still trying to not touch the paper packets, and some of you turned in, or your students turned in the paper packets outside of the school. If you need to turn it in, if you'll email me, and I'll put the bucket outside of the high school and you can turn it in there, that'll be great. If you have access to a scanner, then you can print it out or fill it out and then scan it and then email it to me. That'll work too.
I will add, if you do that scanning, do it with a scanner, not with a picture on a phone, because it gets really hard to read.
Hey, Ms. Sharp, that you said that you would like everything by August the 4th.
Correct.
Say that is a firm date. If you're not turned in by August the 4th, then you're not going to be enrolled in dual credit. That's just part of, like Mr. Sparks said, that is part of being in college. We're taking the responsibility of wanting to take college classes, so that's just part of what you have to do so that you're ready for day one.
Correct. Also, there's a remind that I have just set up for dual credit students, and a lot of times I send out reminds like, hey, turn in your dual credit packet by August 4th, and I'll send it out a couple days in advance. I'll put that dual credit remind on the website as well, and I'll try to email all of you individually that have signed up for something to remind. If you've already taken dual credit, you can sign up right now, and I'll just be texting you, and that way you can get it. You can sign up for it. Your parents can sign up for it. I recommend actually both of you signing up for it. That way your parents can see, oh, no, you did have class today. It didn't get canceled or something like that. Sometimes if there's bad weather, I'll send out a remind through that, or, hey, turn in this, or tomorrow's the last drop date. I do a lot of that through Remind. Make sure you get signed up for that. Do y'all have any questions?
I did forget to mention CNA. Y'all do take CNA there as well. On CNA, the paperwork on that is possibly changing. You must do a background and drug check within 30 days of the first day of class. You have to do that the first week or so of August. If you don't do that, we may not be able to let you stay in the class. We kind of have been lax on it in the past, and some students unfortunately took advantage of that and didn't ever do it. So you do have to get a background and drug check the first week or two of August. is when you're going to have to do it, and you'll have to pay for that. I want to say it's around $60, and that has to be into us by the time the class starts.
All right, one more thing. I know we talked about shots and getting your bacterial meningitis shot if you're going to be at Howard College. So it would be seniors that are going to take the sophomore literature and government, and then the welding and construction students. You have to have your bacterial meningitis shot. I would like that by August 4th as well, because that's what I was kind of waiting on. Now you know you can kind of prep and go this summer, make an appointment, go get that shot. You just have to bring me the shot or the receipt that has your name and the shot that you got. I'll make a copy and I'll send it to Howard, and I'll keep a copy as well. Okay, so if you're going to be an upcoming sophomore or an upcoming junior and you're staying at Coahoma, don't go get a shot. You don't need it. So if you're just taking speech online and you're doing it at Coahoma, don't go get a shot. If you're taking junior English at Coahoma, don't go get a shot. It's really just for those kids. So it could be a junior welding student that's going to Howard College to take the welding, then you need that shot. But it's really mainly seniors and those welding students.
And a lot of you have already had it. So check your records and see the shot is good for 5 years. Several dual credit students, it's good like their junior year, but it expires in their senior year. So there's a possibility that you've already got it. Just check your shot record and see. Okay, are there any other questions or anything? Thank you for coming tonight. This will be available on that Howard College website for you to watch in about a week. Okay, thank you so much.